I have sailed on every single one of Disney's cruise ships. It has taken me literally years, but now I am ready to give you the definitive ranking of Disney Cruise Line ships. I'm Quincy from AllEars, and I'm here to make the Disney cruise decision a whole lot easier. There are 7 ships across the Disney Cruise Line fleet, with more to come, so the decision of which ship to take can actually be pretty difficult. So, with my personal experience sailing on all of these ships, the experiences of my team, as well as the experience of our readers and viewers, we have figured out a scientific ranking of every Disney cruise ship. Definitive, for real. These rankings are based on each ship's value for money, cabins, dining categories, entertainment, reviews from people who have sailed on them many times, their itineraries, their pools, their amenities, everything built into this ranking. So whether you're trying to decide which ship you should sail on, or you just want to learn a little bit more about what Disney Cruise Line has to offer, this video, it's for you. And if this little taster isn't enough, we have tons of cruise videos on the channel where you can see more of the ships, your experiences on them. You can go check those out when you're done watching this. But without further ado, we're going to start with last place. In last place of our ranking, 7th, we have the Disney Wonder. This is actually the 2nd ever Disney cruise ship. Its sister ship is the Disney Magic. They have the same floor plan with slightly different offerings. The Wonder and the Magic might be old, but they have been significantly refurbished over time and have become fan favorites for many. So even though they're in last place, I'll explain why. I know the Wonder and Magic lovers are in the comments already ready to fight me in a parking lot. I get it. Now, the reason this ship is a favorite for many is because it has a more small, intimate size and very beautiful refurbishments that have been done over the years. If you are a fan of theming, though, the Wonder does tend to be a little bit more lacking in theming than the most recent 3 ships that Disney Cruise Line has released. And the ship is beautiful. It's just that if you're looking for that explosion of Disney everywhere you look, these older ships don't quite have that as much as the newest 3. And in my opinion, I think they have a little bit more of that classic Disney vibe. The kind of thing you might remember from the way Disney World looked 20 years ago. Now, Disney ships use a concept called rotational dining. With this, it means you eat at a different of 3 restaurants every night of your trip, rotating through them, but your servers stay the same. They stay with you at each restaurant. So you still get that server for the whole ship familiar experience, but you are at 3 different restaurants. Can I help you? Now, there's different rotational dining on each of the ships. This one has some pretty cool ones, including a Tiana-themed restaurant that a lot of people really like, and it has the original version of Animator's Palette. At this restaurant, you arrive, and as you eat your meal, the black and white walls of the restaurant are paying homage to the beginning of the animation process, and then as you eat, they start to turn color and move through the animation process, maybe come to life a little bit. This, for me, as a little kid, was one of the most enchanting things I'd ever seen. When it comes to adults-only offerings, this ship does have some really nice bars and a great adults-only district, but it doesn't have quite as many options as the later ships. They're kind of just bars. There's like a piano bar. Though this ship does have great kids clubs between the Oceaneers Club and the Oceaneers Lab, they were super fun. I literally did them as a kid. So much fun. There's just a lot more on later ships. Every ship that we're going to talk about does offer Broadway-style performances in the Walt Disney Theater on board, and it does have some wonderful performances available, including Golden Mickey's, which is a cruise ship original, which is basically an award show with a bunch of different characters coming out. Another thing I thought about for a long time after taking this cruise as a kid. That said, the entertainment that happens outside of the theater has gotten a bit more interesting over time. Every Disney cruise has fireworks at sea, can't really go wrong with it. Perhaps the biggest thing that surprised me on board this ship class is that there are very few pools compared to the newer ships. It's also the first water slide attraction that Disney did, so that's another thing that got better over time. All that said, though Disney has made improvements over time with things, this is still a beautiful ship, and it doesn't feel as crowded as any of the other classes because of how small it is. And for that reason, a lot of people do still really love sailing on this ship. Plus, it has some of the most interesting itineraries. The Wonder is currently offering 3 to 15 night sailings from New Zealand, Hawaii, Australia, San Diego, and Vancouver, with itineraries in Alaska, Mexico, New Zealand, and Australia, the Pacific Coast, Hawaii, and the South Pacific. So, I don't know. Pretty cool itineraries. This is also one of the cheaper ships, with sailings starting at $1,441 for 2 guests. I will warn you, I did say that was one of the cheaper sailings. Disney Cruise Line is not known for being a cheap cruise line. It's really good, not inexpensive. You should get booking if you want that classic Disney vibe. That feel is here. It feels nostalgic and classic, and the refurbishments have just added more theming and more modern characters that kids will really resonate with. You might get booking if you're chasing great itineraries. Sometimes the itinerary makes the decision. I can tell you about all of these ships and you might fall in love with one, but the truth is you just might need to sail from a certain port or want to sail to a certain destination. If that's the case, this ship has some of the best options. Also, you won't even see the bigger ships because certain ports can only accommodate smaller ships, which allows the Wonder and its sister ship, the Magic, to head to some pretty cool places. You also might book this ship if you care more about atmosphere and relaxing than a lot of different amenities and activities. There's still a ton to do on this ship, and there aren't as many people doing those things, so it's more of an escape from a crowded vacation. You'll want to keep looking if you want the newest tech, theming, and big amenities. The biggest difference between the ship classes is how modern and spacious their cabins feel. Disney Cruise Line cabins in general are a little bit bigger than your typical cruise cabin, but these original ones, I typically find them a little lacking for outlets and just a little smaller, a little darker than the more modern cabins. You also might skip this ship if pools and slides are a big priority for you. There aren't as many pools, and there are some really incredible slides on the other ship classes that this class just doesn't have. And you might want to keep looking if you want your kids and teens experience to be put first. All of the cruise ships have great options for kids and teens, but there are some better options than the Magic and the Wonder that we'll get to. Speaking of the Magic, perhaps unsurprisingly, it is going to be in 6th place. This one has a lot of the same limitations of the Wonder, but also a lot of the same reasons that folks love the Wonder, being that it's on the smaller side, it's on the older side, which gives it a more intimate, cozy, comfortable feel, but also means it doesn't have all the flashy, exciting amenities. That said, this one does edge out the Wonder for 2 very good reasons. One, it has the fan favorite Tangled restaurant on board. This is in the same spot that the Tiana's restaurant is in on the Wonder, but the Tangled restaurant is considered by many cruisers to be one of the best restaurants on Disney Cruise Line. Awesome food and live performance from Rapunzel and Flynn. This is definitely one of the best shows that you can see on Disney Cruise Line, and it's included in your rotational dining, which is amazing. Rapunzel is easily one of the most popular princesses with kids right now, so it does edge this ship up as a little bit better for kiddos too. Plus, there tends to be more love for the design of the Disney Magic, Disney's original ship, because it does have a very cool Art Nouveau vibe to it that the Wonder doesn't have. Wonder's beautiful too, it's kind of a taste thing, but I see a lot of people say they love the Art Nouveau. The Magic is currently offering sailings from Galveston, San Diego, and Vancouver, with itineraries in Alaska, the Bahamas, and the Caribbean, with stops to Disney's private destinations. You can learn more about those on our channel now, Castaway Cay and Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point. Plus Mexico, the Pacific Coast, and the Panama Canal. Sailings start at $1,456 for 2 guests. Similarly, you should get booked in here for same reasons as the Wonder, especially if you love that classic Disney feel and want a more intimate cruise. You should also get booked in if you have a kid that really loves Tangled, or you really love Tangled. This ship, that Rapunzel restaurant, is seriously reason alone to book if you're a big Tangled fan. And same deal as the Wonder, you should keep looking if you want newest amenities, a lot of pools and the more fun slides, or if you really want to give your kids and teens a new, high-tech, very fun experience. Now, as I mentioned, your decision on which ship might be driven by what ports you want to sail out of and what itineraries you want to go on, whether that is a preference decision or a financial one. And that might mean that your ship choice is more or less made for you. However, if you're sailing out of Florida particularly, you might have a lot of choices when it comes to ships, and the ships do move around. So it's important to know what's going on them, so that if you see them coming to a port near you, you might consider it. In 5th place, this one's kind of spicy. A lot of people like to talk about this. The Disney Wish. The Disney Wish is the first ship in the brand new Wish class that Disney has been releasing ships in. There are now 3 ships in the Wish class. This whole ship class has been an upgrade in the theming. These ships are some of the most beautiful that Disney has to offer, and they are more geared towards Disney fans. There aren't really any generic spaces on the ship. So why is the Wish so low on this list? Well, it's because the Wish has a widely disliked layout. The Wish class is the biggest ship class there is, and only has 2 elevator sections on the ship. There's more elevators, but something about that 2 elevator sections means there's often a backup. It's not really easy to go walk to the other elevators, and typically all of the elevators are slammed all at once during busier times on the ship. The ship is also huge, so there's a lot of people on board, which means when crowds happen, they happen in a very big way. And on Disney Cruises, there are a lot of events that the entire ship wants to be there for, whether it be little welcomes with the characters, the sail away party, or pirate night. The whole ship is often moving at the same time, and that causes big waits at the elevators. There's another big complaint with the layout at the Wish that I'll get to in just a second. But first, let's talk a little bit about the theming of this ship. A major level up from the past. Beautiful coffee shops, details everywhere, mosaics. They are just incredible to look at no matter where you're walking. And I would say more beautiful than the first two ships we've talked about, even though those are beautiful. So it's a gorgeous ship. But we are going to give this ship the reward for best rotational dining overall. The 3 rotational dinings on this ship are 1923, a sort of golden age of Hollywood 1923 themed restaurant with lots of Disney paraphernalia. This is a good restaurant. I always think the food is not quite what it should be, but the decorations are awesome. They also have a Marvel restaurant that has a very cool Spider-Man show that happens while you're eating, though it is not as involved and character forward as the Rapunzel show on the other ship. However, probably the single best rotational dining restaurant on all of Disney Cruise Line is the Arendelle restaurant on the Disney Wish. This is a Frozen themed restaurant where you eat Norwegian inspired food. And while you're eating your food, you get to watch on stage in the center of the room a performance. You get to see Anna and Elsa. There are live singers. Oaken is there going like, woohoo, big summer applause. And he sings Let It Go with Kristoff, which is incredible. It is really, really just a perfectly well done show, beloved by everybody in the audience, kids, parents, teens, everyone loves this show. Plus, you get meet and greets with some of the single most popular Disney characters that there are as they come around to tables during this. And Olaf is even there. It is an unbelievably great dinner show. And the food is also awesome. It was our favorite on this ship, and it definitely is a standout fleet-wide. Now, across the fleet, if you want to forgo rotational dining or just have an extra meal, there are adults-only upcharge dining experiences. On the first 2 ships, there's only one option for this. It is called Palo. Very, very popular restaurant, totally beloved. Their brunch is a standout and a must-do for many cruisers, even with the upcharge, so it's all you're here to enjoy. Fancy food. It's really cool. On the Wish class, it is a restaurant called Enchanté by Chef Arnaud Lamont, who is a triple Michelin star chef. Enchanté, no joke, is my favorite restaurant of all time. I love fine dining. I am very fortunate that I've gotten to do a lot of fine dining for my job. And Enchanté, I have done 3 times. Very, very fortunate because it is on all 3 of the newest ships. It is unbelievably good. It is like an incredible experience, but it's fine dining, so it's definitely not as approachable for everyone. If you're not the kind of person who wants 9 kind of smaller courses that are explained to you and maybe paired with champagne and cost like hundreds of dollars, then it's not going to be for you. But if you want an experience like this, by far and away, Enchanté is the best one I've had. It's on the Wish. But I told you about that other layouts complaint, and it actually does have to do with adult offerings. The Wish was the first ship to include these heavily themed bars. There's a Tiana themed bar, and then the very themed, very interactive Star Wars Hyperspace Lounge. Now, during the day, these spots are welcome to everyone, family friendly, but they kind of move into an adults-only space as you get into the evening. The problem is, with the Wish layout, these adults-only areas are still very central to the rest of the ship, whereas on the older ships, those adult-only areas are sort of separated and actually give you a feel of going and having a nightlife experience. That is certainly not the case on these newer ships. There is nowhere on the Disney Wish that actually feels like you are going to an area that is tailored for adults only. And that's okay, because these cruises are supposed to be focused family forward, but a lot of the benefit of cruises is that the whole family can have a good time the way that they want to. And that is true for many other ships in this fleet. And the Wish layout kind of makes that a whole lot harder. That said, very cool themes on those bars. You want to go to a bar where you're traveling through the Star Wars galaxy, this is the only ship you can do that on. Now, I do, however, want to caveat that I think this might be the single best ship for kids and teens. And there's a couple of reasons for that. For one, the modern ships have the best version of the Disney's Oceaneers Club. It is the most tech-forward and exciting version. There is a Disney Imagineers lab where kids can build their own roller coasters. There's a captain's deck where you might meet Mickey and Minnie. Whole Star Wars cargo bay where Chewbacca might show up and Star Wars activities abound. And there's an entire Marvel training center where you might meet Marvel superheroes and you can even design your own super suit and go on missions. Basically, very cool stuff for kids of all ages. Disney Cruise Line keeps getting better with the offerings that they are giving for kids, which means the newest class has the best offering for kids. Like the other ships, there's option for teens as well, and this is the only class of ships to offer a separate teen area called the Hideaway. There's the Marvel Hero Zone, which is a sports-geared and family activity-geared space, but I see a lot of teens using this, so I think teens will love this. The stage shows on the ship also include The Little Mermaid and Aladdin, which are very popular. And there's just more entertainment around the ship in general, as Disney has sort of expanded character appearances and things with the newer class. Cabins are the most modern in this class. You will see the most outlets. Space is used very efficiently. They are beautiful. This class definitely has my favorite cabins. And then this class also has the most pools, with I believe 10 pools on board. There are so many little pools. It's the biggest ship. That's partially why. And of course, you're trading that. A lot of pools. There's a lot of people in the pools because there's more people on the ship. The adults only area has an infinity pool, which the vibes are hard to pass up on, but it's often people soup, can go either way. And then this ship is home to the first version of the Aqua Mouse, which is Disney's attraction at sea that features actual ride scenes and water effects as you're going up the lift hill, and then a fun, albeit a little short, water slide. The Wish is currently offering 3 to 4 night sailings from Port Canaveral, sailing into the Bahamas with stops at Disney's island destinations. And we're going to see sailings are a little more expensive here, starting at $1,718 for 2 guests. You should get booking if you are prioritizing dining on your cruise. The dining on this ship, I don't think another ship beats it. It's also the ship to book if your priority is your kids and teens having a good time. All the ships do it well. This ship does it the best. And you should get booking if you want newer ship amenities and more themed spaces. You should keep looking if crowds and ship layout matter to you. Both of those things, not the best on this ship. And you should also keep looking if you want longer itineraries and destinations. This ship sails the shortest itinerary options to the closest destination, being the Bahamas. So it's not necessarily the most exciting when it comes to that. In 4th place, the Disney Dream. Yes, so we are breaking into the other class here. So they're not sectioned by the ship class. Where will the others be? We'll find out. The Disney Dream is from the Dream class. It was the first ship after the Magic and Wonder, and it has the sister ship, the Disney Fantasy, which is a little higher. The Dream class ships have most people's favorite Disney Cruise Line layout. These ships are in the middle, size-wise, with the number of people they can accommodate between the Magic and the Wonder and the Wish class. So they don't quite have the crowding issues that the Wish has, though they don't necessarily feel intimate, but the way they are laid out tends to make crowd flow a lot smoother, and most diehard Disney cruise liners tend to swing back to the Dream and the Fantasy as their favorite ships, mostly because the layout just makes the most sense. As I said before, this class has 3 sections for elevators, so lots of elevators, and the adults only section is sectioned into its own district. So it really has that bar hopping nightlife feel when it gets into those adult only times of the night. This is beloved by many, and though it's important your kids and teens have a good time, it is important that you do as well. So if you want really high Disney theming and family fun, maybe the newer ships, maybe, but this adults only district really feels separated from the rest of the ship. It's got a lot of different spots, like a piano bar and a whole dance lounge, but it gives you that bar hopping, club hopping vibe. That said, in my opinion, both the Disney Dream and the Disney Fantasy are actually a little bit weaker when it comes to the Disney feel. It almost feels like they wanted to step away from it a bit. None of the bars are themed Disney, and then the restaurants are themed Disney, but in kind of a vague way. These ships don't feel super themed. They didn't really move towards more themed experiences until later when they were working on the new class and the refurbishments on the older class. In my opinion, which is shared by many, this class is also the worst class for rotational dining. There aren't any standout restaurants really. They have an animator's palette, but the animator's palette on the Dream offers a show where you speak to Crush the Turtle, and it's just not as cool as the animator's palette on the Wonder and the Magic. And Crush is cool, but he doesn't talk to every table, and it's just a little underwhelming. Other than that, one restaurant is themed to an enchanted garden, and the other is a royal palace, but not with a lot going on there. It's also commonly reported that the Dream's food quality is a little bit lower than the Fantasies, despite the fact that they are the same restaurants. So I don't know. I think they were about the same to me, but a lot of people say that. I talked about the great nightlife, and they do have adults-only dining options with Palo, again, and Remy being their fine dining restaurant. Remy is good. Not as good as Enchanté, but it's still like a fabulous, perfect experience. So there's still more adult-only options on these ships than the older ones. They also grew a little bit when they got into this class with the Kids and Teens Club. The Oceaneers Club is very fun on this ship, and the teens do have dedicated spaces, plus a dedicated teen spa. called Chill. I don't know how popular it is because they did not bring that to the newer ships. But I would still say the latest Oceaneers Club is so cool that it makes a lot of adults wish they were kids. So that's going to stay the winner. Now, for entertainment around the ship, while there's tons, like any Disney cruise, there's not as much built in as the newest ships. That said, my personal favorite stage shows are on this ship. Beauty and the Beast, incredible Broadway level, gorgeous production. And you can see that on this ship, as well as some of the others. And Disney Believe is the Disney Cruise Line original show on this ship. This show makes me sob, like embarrassingly, every time I see it, which has been at least twice, maybe 3 times. I love it so much. And while this class doesn't have as many pools as the Wish class, there are more pools. Sorry to the Aqua Mouse attraction at sea with its ride scenes. But this ship has the Aqua Duck. The Aqua Duck is on the Disney Dream and the Disney Fantasy. It is a slide, pure and simple. You climb up into the funnel and you get on the slide and it goes out over the ocean and all around the ship. It is one of the most fun water slides ever. And as much as I love the ride scenes on the Aqua Mouse, I'm always disappointed in the slide portion because it feels very short because you spend so much time in the lift hill. And Aqua Duck, I literally think that I did 8 times in a row one time. I love the Aqua Duck. This is the best slide, hands down. I got some cool itineraries on this one too, because the Disney Dream is currently offering 3 to 14 night sailings from Barcelona, Fort Lauderdale, Rome, Port Canaveral, England, and Puerto Rico. And those sailings can take you to the Bahamas and the Caribbean with those island stops. Transatlantic, they have a transatlantic sailing because it's moving. And then after that, Europe. Also, this is the cheapest ship. Sailings start at $1,366. So with the current itineraries, the Disney Dream, one of the better ships and the cheapest. You should get booking if you want the best layout of all of the ships. It's the best of both worlds when it comes to a comfortable cruising experience and still a really big ship with a lot of options. And you should book it if you're prioritizing your experience as an adult with the nightlife. You should keep looking if you want everything you do to have a really cool immersive Disney theme, and if the dining is more your priority, as this ship may be the weakest. Still good though, and none of them are bad. That's something to keep in mind here. I know I keep saying it, but none of them are bad. Now, before we get into our top 3, a little note is that there are more ships to come. Next year, Disney is launching the Disney Adventure, which is a class of its own because they basically bought a ship that another cruise line had commissioned that they abandoned, and Disney bought that ship and then repurposed it. That's the Disney Adventure, sailing from Singapore to nowhere. Sails from Singapore, has only days at sea, and then goes back to Singapore, as of right now anyway. And the stuff on this ship is wild. There's wild stuff, entertainment and dining-wise on this ship. I will be going. I will show you guys. So, I cannot get enough. It is strange. After that, there will be 2 more Wish-class ships. One will be part of the Disney Cruise Line fleet. The other will be operated by Oriental Land Company, which is the company that operates the Tokyo Disney parks, and that one will be sailing from Japan. Then there will be 3 ships in a newer class, and those ships will be smaller than the Dream and Fantasy and only a little bit bigger than the Wonder and Magic, so some of the smallest ships. All in all, that is 13 ships that will be in the fleet by 2031. But it's our final 3, baby. In third place, we have Disney's newest ship, the Disney Destiny. Newer does not always mean better. It does mean better than the others that we talked about so far, but it doesn't mean best. All those layout problems I talked about from the Wish, they're still here on the Destiny. They'll also be on the Treasure, and they'll be on the other Wish-class ships. That's what the layout is. It's not changing. That said, this ship does have one of the most all-encompassing themes. It is themed to heroes and villains, and a lot of the ship has a Marvel influence. The main atrium is mostly inspired by Wakanda. It's very heavily themed, very beautifully and intentionally designed. It's Disney everywhere you look. That said, even though it's super themed, it isn't the most beautiful because the modern Marvel influences don't feel as luxurious and fancy and magical. Now, this has the same restaurants as the Wish, except for the fact that the Arendelle restaurant is swapped for a Lion King restaurant. Lion King rules, and the food at this restaurant is pretty good. However, though the show is spectacular, it has live singers and a dancer performing the story of the Lion King with incredible versions of the songs. It doesn't quite feel right for a dinner theater environment. It's not as fun. There's more emotion to it. It was a really good show that I would love to watch on a stage, but not so much while I'm trying to eat prime rib. And for your little ones, though there are recognizable songs, there aren't really recognizable characters in this show. There's no puppets of Timon and Pumbaa or anything that they can kind of recognize. It's just the singers and the performers who are unbelievably talented, but it just might not keep little's attention as much as the Frozen show did on the Wish. All of the Wish class has Enchanté, which I talked about, which is a plus for me. but doesn't have that much effect on the score. And like the Wish, lots of really heavily themed bars. A Pirates of the Caribbean bar, the Haunted Mansion Parlor, which originally debuted on the Treasure and is incredibly popular, and the Doctor Strange themed Sanctum bar. Those themes are really cool. They also don't feel as adults only, but this ship, I will say, is the first one that they've done where I felt like some of the Disney crafted experiences still were very Disney and also a little bit more grown-up jokes. There was a Marvel show with Deadpool that was surprisingly adult. It's great for kids like the rest of the Wish class, and this is the best entertainment that Disney Cruise Line has to offer. The stage shows are awesome and popular, with Frozen and Hercules being two of them, but this ship really shines when it comes to the entertainment around the ship. There are storytellers on this ship that you will see in many different shows, and you will see many shows featuring villains. Loki, Dr. Facilier, Cruella, Maleficent can be found around the ship wreaking havoc, and they really leveled up the entertainment with this one. It feels like the ship is alive. So if you want an entertainment-driven experience, this ship is for you, hands down. Also got a lot of pools, and it's got the Aquamouse with my favorite Aquamouse story. So each ship has its own story on the Aquamouse. This one is a villains-themed story. It's very funny and very cute. Still not as good as the Aqueduct. This ship currently offers 3 to 7 night sailings from Fort Lauderdale with trips into the Bahamas and the Caribbean with stops at those island destinations. It's also expensive because it's the newest ship. So it does start at $2,061 for 2 guests, which is a 3-night cruise. All of the startings are 3-night cruises, save for one. That's expensive. You should get booking if you want the most entertainment-forward option in the fleet, if you're sailing with kids or teens, especially ones that might love villains, and if you want newer ship amenities balanced with really strong theming. You should keep looking if ship layout is a total deal breaker for you. If you want the most beautiful and elegant and ornate design on the ship, which brings us to our second place, the Disney Fantasy. This is not based on just my feelings, but I actually do have a really hard time deciding between this ship and our number one pick. But the Disney Fantasy is an incredible ship. This is the Dream class, so it is the sister ship of the Dream. A lot of the same stuff that we talked about earlier with that one. It does have the best layout in the fleet. People love the layout of these ships. It works really well. The rotational dining is still boring, but at least on this ship, if you're headed to Animator's Palette, you have one night with the Crush Show, and then your second night at Animator's Palette, you actually get to draw your own character that then Mickey will magically animate on the walls, which was cool. And I have that as a keepsake, so I do really love this second night of Animator's Palette. Definitely bumps it up above the Dream. Also, I talked a lot about that adults-only nightlife district on the Dream. This has all of the same things that make that one great and an even better theme. The nightlife district on this ship is themed to Europe. So it is a Parisian piano bar, and then the London Metro is like the big dance club. There's an Irish pub. So there's a whole carousel bar themed to Italy. It is a really cool bars district, and another reason that this ship is great if you're prioritizing a grown-ups experience. This is equal to kids and teens, but I think a lot of kids will be more excited with the stage shows on this ship because 2 of them are Frozen and Aladdin. And of course, it has the Aqueduct. So it's a little bit better than the Dream, and it's enough better than the Dream that with how good the class is, it does move it all the way into second place. This ship is currently offering 3 to 10 night sailings from Port Canaveral with itineraries in the Bahamas and the Caribbean with stops at those island destinations. Sailings start at $1,661 for 2 guests. And you should get booking on this one if you want the best of the Dream class with better execution. You also should get booking if you're prioritizing that adult experience with really cool spaces to have fun times in. And you should get booking if you want strong entertainment that the whole family will enjoy. You should keep looking if you want some of the more Disney, very themed dining options. Which brings us to our first place, the Disney Treasure, the second newest ship in the fleet. It released last year before the Disney Destiny. And this was debated for a while amongst our team, but ultimately, we do think the Treasure deserves the top spot, despite having the limitations of the Wish class layout. They have made some big improvements in operations with the Wish class in general since it launched. It is still not as good as the Dream and Fantasy, but this ship has those improvements, as does the Destiny and the Wish. You have a different opinion than this ranking, please tell me, because somebody else might read your comment and it might make a difference for them having a better vacation. One of the biggest things about this ship is it does have the best theming overall. The theme of the ship is adventure, and the way the ship was designed is so incredibly breathtakingly beautiful. All of the ships are gorgeous. The treasure is just a cut above. That was widely agreed upon when I was on it. Everybody felt that way as they were looking around. It's these beautiful deep greens. It's ornate. It's just a beautiful ship. The only switch in restaurants from the Wish, again, is going to be Arendelle is instead a Coco restaurant. Coco is one of my favorite movies. I love this show. It's very, very cool. The first night you're going to a night of music with Miguel's family. And the second night you venture into the world of the dead and you get to see a show performed by Hector and Mami Imelda. Very magical, live singing, live music, wonderful storytelling, characters you recognize. Enchante is on this ship. And though the layout and the heavy theming means the adult-only options aren't as focused and good as the Dream and Fantasy, the Disney Parks themed bars add an additional layer. This ship's bars are themed to Disney Parks attractions: 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Haunted Mansion, and Skipper Society, which is Jungle Cruise. Haunted Mansion was so popular that they brought it back on the Destiny. Skipper Society is much loved, and the 20,000 Leagues bar was so exciting for many, many people. I think these themes feel more fun to adults than the ones on the Wish and even the Destiny. So I think ultimately, theme-wise, if you want a good adult experience with heavy Disney theming, this is that ship. Entertainment on this ship is second only to the Disney Destiny. It has a lot of character interactions, a lot of experiences all around the ship, lots of piratey stuff, and there are storytellers on this ship as well that you'll recognize in many of the shows. Plus, two of the most popular Disney Cruise Line shows are in the theater with Beauty and the Beast and Moana, and of course, Aquamouse with a more adventure-focused experience on this one. Now, the catch is this ship does currently only offer 7-night sailings. They're sailing 7-night sailings from Port Canaveral into the Caribbean with stops at Disney's Castaway Cay. And because it only offers 7-night sailings, the ship is also very expensive with $3,522 as the starting rate for 2 guests. You should get booking though if you want the best theming in the entire fleet. This ship's got it. You should also get booking if entertainment is a priority, as this ship does a really good job with it. And you should get booking if you want a newer ship that has strong adult and family appeal. Best of both worlds. You should, however, keep looking if that layout is a deal breaker or if you just can't do a longer cruise, which is also fair. Maybe this one will one day offer shorter cruises, but as of right now, just the 7-nighters. To be fair, I think any of our top 3 could actually land as our number 1. It just kind of depends on your preference. Hopefully this video has been helpful in you making your Disney cruise decision or just learning more about Disney Cruise Line. And if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments so that we can help out others who might be trying to make this decision. If you're still here, please like this video and drop this secret code in the comments so we know you made it all the way. Plus, don't forget to subscribe. We upload tips, info, games, and more about Disney Cruise Line and beyond all week because we are serious about fun. I'll see you next time.